Priming makes you fat and sick. If you've been following my content, you've probably noticed that I recommend the carnivore diet. And depending on if you're new or an experienced carnivore, you've probably come across a protocol known as priming. But I'm going to define it real quick and tell you afterwards why priming makes you fat and sick. What is priming? I quote, "Priming is defined as a short-term period of significantly increasing food intake, particularly focusing on muscle, meat, fat, and specific animal products. The goal is to overeat 3 times more than usual to reset the body's hormonal balance and promote weight loss. Although priming can be unpleasant and result in temporary weight gain, it is believed to have beneficial effects on fat loss and inflammation." Here are the facts. After helping hundreds of clients reverse the damage inflicted upon them due to them following this priming protocol, it's important that you understand that the more calories you ingest during priming will lead to fat gain. The vast majority of people do gain weight, but here's the kicker. They think they're going to lose it easy, and most of them don't. It's going to be very hard to lose this excess weight that you gained. I had a client who gained literally 40 pounds in just 2 months. She was tall, but still 40 pounds in 2 months is insane. And it took us a full year of working one-on-one to peel that off. Now, unless you are severely underweight, which is very uncommon generally in people who gravitate towards a carnivore diet, unless you are severely underweight, then you're not going to have to worry about healing your hormones by gaining body fat. You see, most people end up gaining excess body fat. So only unless you have literally like no body fat on you, this is when I worry about your hormones being shot. But if you have any excess body fat, having more body fat on you is simply going to raise overall levels of inflammation. And that's going to make you sicker and more depressed. While a carnivore diet is a fantastic health tool that I recommend for everybody, if you want to lose weight, it's not just about following a carnivore diet, it's about creating a caloric deficit. It breaks my heart that I have to fix all of this damage of hundreds of clients that come to me after going through this priming protocol, and then they realize, what have I done? And then they have to pay for it very dearly with all the time it is and work and effort it's going to take to peel all of this excess body fat off. In addition, most folks who try priming followed after that by strict carnivore. So they do like the priming protocol and then they do just very strict carnivore. Unless they had hundreds of pounds to lose, they will never magically regulate their hunger signals. You don't just magically regulate your hunger just because you followed a carnivore diet or you did the priming protocol. And I think a lot of you that are watching this are probably nodding your heads right now, because again, I see this on a daily basis with my clients. That's because most people who gravitate towards carnivore, who get to carnivore, they're the most common complaint is we just want to lose weight. And this generally means they were probably food addicts. And so if you're a food addict, you have destroyed your dopamine activity in your brain. You have destroyed your ability to have a high enough level of baseline dopamine activity. And it takes 2 years of sobriety for that dopamine activity to regulate itself, but not just dopamine, all the other neurotransmitters that are implicated in addiction. And so this is why I wrote my guide, Dopamine Brain, in order to help you attack the root cause of food addiction. Most people don't like to consider themselves addicts. So if you want to call yourself an emotional eater, binge eater, you crave sugar, whatever it is, the root cause of that is simply a deficit in your baseline dopamine level. And so just going on a carnivore diet will not just magically raise your baseline dopamine. You have to actually do the work. And so I explain very specifically how you can do that in the guide, Dopamine Brain. So when you go on carnivore, you've basically eliminated all addictive foods, but now you're left with a brain vacuum that is deficient in dopamine and all the other neurotransmitters. So now there's a void in your brain that you are constantly trying to fill. So priming can help because you're eating tons of fat, and a high fat diet actually gives you dopamine hits. And so you might be able to not eat sugar addictive foods because you're getting those dopamine hits from the high fat and nutrient and the calorie dense foods you're eating on the priming protocol. Now, if you're intrigued by the priming protocol because it allows you to eat more, that's great. And I generally encourage higher calories. I don't like very low calories. It's too restrictive. It's harder to get our nutrients and it's harder to hit our protein targets. So what I would recommend instead is to earn those excess calories. So I am all for eating more. I am all for nourishing the body, but you gotta earn it. That means you gotta move more, and then you get to eat more. And both are critically important. When you move more and you eat more, it means you have higher G flux. And when you eat less and you move less, it's called that you have a lower G flux. So we want a higher G flux. We want the body to process through more food and get more nutrients. But we don't want that at the expense of gaining body fat and raising our inflammation levels. And then what happens too is that when you gain weight on a priming protocol, while you might get a tiny boost in your metabolism, that's going to necessitate a longer dieting phase to peel the fat again. So you're thinking, oh, I'm healing all of the diets that I did all my life. I'm healing my body from chronic dieting. But then you gain weight, which adds another longer time spent under dieting. We want to minimize as much as possible the total amount of time that we spend under dieting. And so we never ever want to gain weight in order to fix our metabolism, because it's only going to make the metabolic slowdown even worse after you have to peel off this excess fat that you gain. If you want to speed up your metabolism because you've crashed it, what I have written a whole guide on that is called SUPERBREED Metabolism. It teaches you how you can do that, but you can't do it by eating all you want. What you want to do is go very slowly and add 50 to 100 calories week by week, plus strength training to send the correct hormonal signal to the body to shuttle the excess calories into more muscle as opposed to depositing them as fat. The whole protocol is broken down beautifully in SUPERBREED Metabolism, so also check that out on my website, DRZALDIVAR.com/shop. Here's the kicker though, once the priming protocol ends, you're still left with a void in your dopamine baseline level. And so you're still gonna be trying to fill that void. So it's gonna be very hard to just eat for physiological hunger. You will still overeat. This is where all of the carnivore recipes come in, because they give you a lot more of that fat, kind of like mimicking the priming protocol to stimulate some of that dopamine activity. And so the solution is attack the root cause, which is a low baseline dopamine activity. Don't wait 2 years until your brain naturally regulates itself, because you don't want to live miserably those 2 years. And it's almost the rate of success in addiction is so miserable because most rehab protocols don't attack the root cause of addictions. And so they just put them away in rehab and for like a month, and then they put them out into the world. But that brain still requires those 2 years before it really goes back to normal. And so this is why rates of relapse in rehab and after rehab is close to like 95 to 99%. Everybody relapses, no matter what the drug is, because they're not attacking the root cause. So again, there's nothing on the market like my protocol, which is called Dopamine Brain. It is really the culmination of my dissertation, my doctoral dissertation. I spent 5 or 6 years at the University of Miami, like strictly focused on this topic, just researching the ins and outs of addiction and food addiction specifically. It was really about sugar and chocolate addiction. That was the main focus of my dissertation, and also how we can use exercise to target that root cause of addiction. So I hope you find benefit in that. Check it out. It's on my website, DRZALDIVAR.com/shop. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video.